think that the Face Hunter for Rami is probably overall, like, on average, the strongest deck in his lineup against what Fr0zen has remaining with the Death Rattle Demon Hunter and the Quest Mage. But we'll see. We're going to get into the action. Action.
Right. Decisions already for Rami. How many Volpatingers is too many Volpatingers?
2. 2 is too many. 1,
okay,
perfect.
How about... Right. Well, he's going to have 2 if he plays 1. That's a problem.
4 is too many. 2 is perfect.
Okay, cool. Let's go with that. I like it. All right, so you throw 1 away. You keep the Bone Chewer. It's a little bit slow, but it's just... It's okay, right? That's what I want to go with. It's not a particularly great analysis, but it seems okay enough that I wouldn't really want to chuck it away and try and get something better, is my thought on that.
Yep.
Fr0zen keeping brain freeze because he knows he's going to have to kill things.
Garrote, not good. Oh. Hey.
Okay, what's this noise mean? Where we go?
That means don't like the hand for Fr0zen. He'd love to have some minions. Oh.
There's a minion.
Okay, now if we break this down, there is a potential punish for coining out the Octobot in the form of Demon Companion hits the Oliek.
Yep. Let me work my magic. Adorable Infestation from where Fr0zen is sat would be a bad one. Oh, I never know which one. Yeah, it would be the anagram of Leok. So,
yeah.
Coeli, Oliek, something like that.
Oh, wait, this is good. Double Brain Freeze with a Wand Thief?
Uh-huh.
Devolving Missile? Oh, actually, I could see merit in all of those, but Devolving Missile is the cheapest. It's like this guaranteed value. I mean, this board's going to be picked apart, but Rami did, like, stick some damage. That's not terrible, right?
I mean, he was in such a good spot, and now... If that hadn't happened, and the Rogue's allowed to pick off something there, but if that hadn't happened, he might have been able to get this Felmore down. But now he hasn't got the time. This Felmore's... You okay?
Yeah, sorry. Prep was drawn.
Sounds like an injury.
Yeah. I mean, it's an injury to Rami.
Okay.
That at least going to allow him to Shroud and maybe have a different option than the Octobot in this turn. Even though Octobot wouldn't be even that terrible, but... needs to hit some tempo stuff. Beyond Contact Penflinger is, I mean, could you ask for anything better? And there's some punishes that exist. That is not one of them. I was thinking possibility of Guardian Og Merchant. This is still good. Because the Octobot will not have something to attack into immediately. Obviously, Fr0zen could just Penflinger if he really wanted to. And this damage is not insignificant.
Yeah, it's getting to the point...
turn to navigate.
Now, like, if you factor in 3 or 4 hero powers, let's say it's going to take Fr0zen 3 or 4 turns to actually win if he gets control of the board. There's not much left needed in spells, plus the Rogue, one of the weaknesses it has against Hunter is it often just gets Rhino'd. At any point, a Rhino just does so much damage, a piercing shot does so much damage. So Rami, the damage he has already inflicted is, like you said, not insignificant. I like that phrase. It's a shame for him that he was forced into having to play the Felmore a turn slower than he would have liked to in perfect circumstances, because now it's not likely to connect to face. If it does, then he's in a great spot.
This is just so good. This is just so good. Yeah, I don't know. Fr0zen's running out of time already.
8, 11, 9. One of the interesting things about this Adorable Infestation is it might not change the clock in a bad way. So if he misses a hero power to play it, currently if he attacks with both minions, Fr0zen will be down to 11. If Rami went with your Adorable Infestation, he'd be down to 10. So both are still the same number of hero powers to get the job done. But I think this is the sensible play. Mainly because aimed shot exists.
Okay. A lot riding on this pen flinger. Needs to pick up something.
A lot riding on this Felmore. So he's got to just go as wide as he can. If this just hits face, it's over.
Nope.
Takes a hard right.
That might even be the worst one in the grand scheme of things. Oh, Rhino's a good pickup.
Rhino's lethal next turn. Right? Oh no, it's not because it's not buffed. You can't buff it.
No.
They're always
You
7/6s.
can't leave this field contact up, I don't think. But if he pushes the 3, that would be all he's doing this turn.
So if he hero powers, it would be down to 7. Next turn's hero power would be 5, and the Rhino would do 4. Because he won't get the infestation in.
Yeah. I think he just got a Rhino and get rid of the field contact here.
Alright, so if you Rhino the field contact, you do 3 damage, your opponent goes down to 6. That takes you out of range of the second quick shot, for instance.
Yeah, but if you leave the field contact up, you're just asking for trouble.
You are. Yeah, it buys you an extra turn sometimes to not kill the field contact, but it costs you time. He's gone for the costing option.
All right.
How it works out. The bold move, Cotton.
Attack with the pen flinger. Hey, there you go.
Wasn't me.
Fr0zen doesn't have very good ways of actually getting rid of this Rhino right now, because don't forget that both brain freezers have gone.
Yeah. He can pick up a shadow step.
Yeah. Like, he can get rid of it. I'm trying to, from the perspective of Fr0zen, doesn't want to get rid of the field contact that Rami chose not to attack. Because if he ends up having to put the field contact into the Rhino, then that's a win for Rami!
Oh wait, he's not shadow stepping the. Is he going for lethal?
No, he's just setting up for lethal for next turn, I think.
Well, he would have shadow stepped the prize plunder, certainly.
Surely, I don't think it's possible to get it now. I mean,
Oh, he hit the prize plunder!
yeah. He was
All right, so
now he's got lethal.
It pretty much has to be now. Moonfang! Disaster!
Oh.
That's lethal on board. He's dead.
If he'd killed the field contact, then he wouldn't have had the outs, but he wouldn't have needed them, right?
He still would have needed to find 6 damage.
Well played.
But he'd probably have had an extra turn to find some direct damage from hand, because Fr0zen would have
He's
been
feigning the
worse
piercing
off.
shot, trying to get him to concede, but come on,
But a try.
come on now.
But a try.
Yeah,
It's worked before.
right. yeah. Well,
1-0. The hunter that was supposed to be getting some wins does not get some wins, and now that put Fr0zen in a really good spot, because obviously the rogue taking a win. He does still have a mage hanging around, which could be quite handy when the druid comes to play.
yep.
And the game of tennis that is similar to Last Hero Standing begins with Fr0zen kind of breaking some serve.
I mean, it's kind of tough though, because I feel like that was the best matchup in the set for it, for the rogue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's gonna go with mirror because he really wants. He feels like that's better than druid, or wants druid against something else. It's tough. It's really tough, and you know that game itself was tough. So deciding whether or not to kill the field contact is you cut down on one of your outs, right? Potentially even 2 of your outs. No, it would have just been 1 out, because the 6 breakpoint, another Rhino would have been enough as well, because there certainly would have been a 1 health minion on board. And your Rhino hero power. It was just a single quick shot in the deck that he was increasing the odds for by leaving the field contact up.
That all it was? Okay.
What else would deal 3 but not 4 in that instance with 5 mana?
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Like it
yeah,
would
but it is a whole
Rinling's rifle
turn
because you
did.
can Rinling's rifle and explosive, right? It would only need to be at 6. Tough choice, tough decision. So, time to move on though. Both players are reasonable hands, right? I think that, you know, Rami having the Cold Neophyte ends up being pretty big here because it blocks the Shroud, which Fr0zen wanted. Both players are just trying to get to Octobot as quick as possible. And now Fr0zen's going to be kind of a step behind in that process. They both have field contacts. They both have ways to get draws from the field contacts. So,
they've both got the same ways of hitting the Octos. It's going to be an Octo race. Nobody can make a wide board, particularly either, which is kind of one of the traits of the mirror, is somebody makes a wide board and tries to make their combo easier because it's very rare that the wide board actually gets there because things like Kazakus and Mankrik are like all you have in terms of efficient minion attacks. Going wide tends to get picked off with all the ping you have available. So yeah, the next 2 or 3 turns, who hits the Octo is a massive deal.
we got ourselves a good old game of chicken. Bagaw!
That's a good chicken impression. That's allowed.
No, that wasn't an impression. I
you just
free range chickens, and I had my wife bring one in just for that little bit.
Yeah, that's very. Yeah, say thank you to your wife for that. It was it enhanced my broadcast a lot. All right, Octobot. Rami.
Nice. Got it for next turn.
Yep. It's a big deal because he has one and Fr0zen does not. Wait. That's interesting. Oh, he's going to Shadow Step it. That's fine.
For my discretion.
Means he's a Shadow Step down, but Shadow Steps are fairly expendable. You have to use them sensibly, but as long as you don't actually just waste them, you can use them. You don't have to hold them for one specific thing.
Yeah, well, that was a double whammy. He would have lost a card off the top, which could have been the Shadow Step if he hadn't played the Ethereal Aug Merchant. So, because the Ethereal Aug Merchant, right, came off the draw.
Yep.
Which means he would have been at 10 cards, and then he could have just burned the Shadow Step anyway.
Octobot!
Oh, and he could step it too!
Uh-huh.
He could dump a Plunderer as well.
He could also launch a Garrote and hope to get the board. But he's a turn behind. He's gonna! Because the point being, you usually get some chip damage in, so you don't have to get all of the damage out of your Garrote. Like both of your Garrotes with spell damage. Usually one of you gets the board, maybe you both chip away for 10 or 12 points of actual minion damage. Plus he knows he's got the Octobot. He doesn't know for a fact that Rami did have the Octobot, right? Because that just went to his hand from the Shroud or the Swindle. So he decided that, okay, I'm just going to get that set up, ready to try and do some damage, win the game. Because in his next turn, he is going off quite quickly. But he might not have a next turn. Not at least a meaningful one. It's amazing how nothing happened for 4 turns, and they both found Octobots, and here we are.
And here we are. Rami's just a turn ahead.
Yep. That's the analysis. It's like it's going to be a back and forth, and he's going first, and that works out well for you a lot of the time.
Yep.
He does have the other field contact. It's hiding on the left-hand side as well, so... He's only got 10 cards left. He can get through basically all of that next turn.
Efficient is sufficient.
Right, Fr0zen's turn.
Initiating overdrive.
And this is what I asked you earlier, and yeah, the answer is that Fr0zen will reverse this board, and then there's a very good chance that just Rami re-reverses it.
And so begins the vicious cycle. Getting some bleeds in the mix.
Yeah, this is actually good news for Rami. Because they were hit so early that if Rami can clear up the board, they're kind of wasted.
Probably.
Alright, so what are we stepping?
Contact?
Choose soon.
It's because he hasn't got one. Wants to step the Octo, I think, but I think it's a little bit... The way to get one, it's also a way to keep the board. This needs to stick, and it probably won't.
Alright. Well,
So because of the neophyte... Sorry, you go.
Oh, I was going to say, Fr0zen has used both Shadow Steps, has both Ethereal Aug Merchants, but will need some extra damage from somewhere. Because he's used one of his groves. So with +2 spell damage is what he's limited at right now if we don't include the Primordial Studies. He would just be at that 16 breakpoint.
Rami, on the other hand, though, is down to his last field contact. His Shadow Step's going to cost 1. This is going to be a nothing of a turn. He hasn't been able to play his own neophyte, so he can't slow Fr0zen down.
He's still going to clear up most of the board. He's still got a swindle.
Choose soon.
But yeah, and this is where Rami has seemed to get a slight bit messy, right? Is when we approach these later turns.
Yeah.
What does he even want to prep? Prep Shadow Step the Contact.
Oh, he needs to get a card out of his hand, otherwise if he burns Garrot, it's over.
Yeah, but now he only has 7 mana next turn. I guess he still has an Octobot in the deck. But it's going to be tough. There's going to be a Cold Neophyte on the board. Fr0zen actually doesn't need to kill this turn. Actually, he can't even kill this turn.
Because he only has the one.
Actually, no, he would be able to. Because he would... well, yeah, not anymore, but theoretically he would have been because he actually has 6 damage on board with +2 spell damage would make up the amount. And just having minions stick, right? Which he's actually going to have minions stick because these are going to be stealthed. And
Mancrick's like
Primordial Studies out. And
extra bleed at some point.
yeah, but spending 2 mana might not be feasible in this situation. I mean, right now he's going to have it with just +2 spell damage. He doesn't actually need anything extra. Taking a look at the bottom cards for Fr0zen. He's got Octobot, Field Contact, Swindle, Wand Thief, and Prep. So, assuming he has board space, definitely doable for the next turn. I don't...
He also has Secret Passage in hand, so if it all goes terribly wrong, he can at least get all of those into his hand, basically.
Yeah.
But he's managed to get the Neophyte action in. I think Rami needs to find a Neophyte. He needs to find a lot of things. He's in a lot of trouble here, actually.
I don't think he has any Neophytes left. He does not.
Okay. I mean, Fr0zen's almost going to win just on the board. It's like the thing I was saying earlier. You just need to sort of get a bit of a tickle to finish it off at the end sometimes.
A bit of a tickle. Oh no, I did it. I couldn't hold myself.
It's happened.
Oh no, I gotta hide. I'm sorry, Neil. I gotta go.
Solo cast. I've done it before, TJ. When you get out
Cut the
of jail,
broadcast
come
now.
back,
Get rid of the
help me out.
delay. I'm done for. It took 4 weeks, but it slipped. I'm so sorry.
Oh, at least it lasts for the second half of the Hearthstone season. Who's Rami trying to kill here? He's writing something down. I imagine this is different to swearing on camera.
Oh no!
we both lost it now. Right, Fr0zen, please win now so we can, have a moment.
So he needs 1 bleed from the secret passage with 7 cards in deck. It's guaranteed.
Yep.
Oh no, it's not guaranteed. It could be 1 not right. There was 4 cards in deck.
Oh, so yeah, so it could have missed.
It wasn't guaranteed, but it was very, very likely.
But there was also a field contact guaranteed in those cards. No, he didn't have the mana, so yeah, there was a possibility it would go wrong.
Yeah. But it was very likely to kill, and that was probably the most likely scenario instead of messing around with trying to get... I mean, he didn't even have field contact in hand, so he kind of had to go for it in that situation. But nicely done. Rami, at great start, he was a turn ahead, but then just couldn't get through that last bit of stuff in order to get the job done. The second Octobot was being quite elusive. So...
Yeah, it was an interesting start, and big deal, Fr0zen. I mean, could it be the start of his playoff push? Like, that's just a thing we didn't think was happening at all. But he'll be within that 1 point if he picks up 1 more win. And then he's already said he's enjoying this meta, or at least the previous meta, and this one's similar-ish, at least in the tournament scene. We could see him in the playoffs, we could see him in Worlds, we could see him as world champion. We could have 5 former world champions.
We could. We certainly could. Rami going to move over to Aggro Druid. We've seen how this matchup can tend to go. We've seen a lot of Octobots on 2 against Aggro Druids into field contacts, which is pretty much the death of the Druid. They don't really come back from a board state that they're behind on. So we shall see. Fr0zen going to go for a full mull here. Rami probably as well. You're really just looking for Oracle, Battle Guard, 1-drops. Find some interesting stuff, but not the best.
He's got the Octobot again.
Oh, yeah. The follow-up isn't that great.
The light protects me.
Is it not? I guess it's
Well, like the actual Octobot activation, it's going to allow him to draw cards, but the cards that he draws aren't going to be discounted.
But there's going to be a lot of them, especially now he's got the Swindle.
Yeah. He could Shroud Swindle next turn. Or, Shroud plus Neophyte, hold on to the Swindle.
Or Neophyte, Swindle, Prep, Shroud.
Ooh, misconnections.
The ambitious amongst us.
That is quite ambitious. He's missing a Prep in order to make that happen, but...
But if he swindles, see? He's ambitious.
Mm-hmm.
He could get a Prep or a Shadow Step, and then he could replay the Octobot. Or just draw another one.
Yeah.
My goodness! His hand! It's unfair. Right, what can Rami do?
Well, there's a
have
Park
the good
Panther in
stuff.
hand. So the second Octobot could just go down in flames. But
now he's being greedy because he's sort of not got control of the board, but got the board in a non-too terrible state, so he can afford to be greedy.
Yep. Gonna block the coin again with this coin Neophyte, which I think is valuable because you're coming up on the potential for, big turns with just a 5-drop or Oracle, Battle Guard, taunts.
And for the first time in the history of the card, the stealth from Shroud of Concealment was actually relevant there because of Park Panther. It's never mattered in the history of Hearthstone ever before.
For that quickly, I wonder if you're supposed to swindle first. I guess a lot of the spells in your deck are free, but Sure, just throw a field contact out there, get the extra draw. This makes a lot of sense.
What are we shadow stepping? Shadow stepping the Octo? Or the second field contact? Might as well step with the Octo, in my opinion.
I don't know if you're shadow stepping anything. Okay, he's going to shadow step the Octo. I was going to say, like, Park Panther is really the only thing that punishes anything that's on board, but I guess that would be a pretty big punish in this instance, and a free Octobot with procs in hand and another field contact is looking like a big old GG.
There's a lot happening next turn for Fr0zen.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be, I mean, doesn't have to be careful. He's not going to make this mistake, but from the combo point of view, the field contact is now sort of exposed. He needs to make sure it works when he does it, but that's all he needs to keep an eye on. Do you want to 1-thief first? No, he's just going. He's going. He's going to get the board. He's going to do it the board way.
Yeah. And Rami just kind of throws his hands in the air like, yep, okay, you got me. I mean, I said this at the very beginning, right? Yeah. Rami has good matchups, decent matchups across the board, but because he has to ban Control Warrior, it means he leaves the Rogue up. And we've seen what can happen when Rogue is left up, and that is this. It's the ability to just steamroll some games, and
all right.
It doesn't feel like there's that much that can keep Rogue in check.
Just looking up to Oracle into, let's say he can draw the Razor Main into, what, Greybow?
Choose Siri.
Looking at Rami trying to escape this complete disaster that he's about to have.
Yeah, if he does draw a Battle Guard off the top, there's a lot of things he can do. A lot of things he can do. This is the last field contact. So he would kind of need to kill that, which he can't do if he goes for the Oracle turn. But if he draws Battle Guard, he can go Oracle, Battle Guard, coin out the Grey Bow. So he can kill the field contact now.
Yeah, and remove stuff in the process because the Panther's good. Obviously, he's down to 19 and basically can't gain any armor. Yes, I'm aware he can because that's the hero power, but if he's doing that, he's losing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
Now we can't see the end of the tournament.
Well, no, he played the correct one. We did get word that we actually don't have a backup from server prepped right now, so if that second pack mule does come down, the backwards card, we're going to have a little bit of a break in the action while we have to reset. Rami doing us a big favor by playing the other one.
Good man, Rami. Good man.
Good man, Rami. All right.
Fr0zen just going to occupy the board again.
Yeah, so he's pretty much out of card draw. The Secret Passage is really the only way for him to get to the rest of his deck, unless he picks up something from the one Wand Thief that's left in his deck, but he actually does just have a ton of damage. He's got bleeds in deck. He's going to have board again. Now
there we go.
Trick.
I think he might try and save the prize plunderers. Just a gut feeling, just because he knows there's a massive hand in Rami. He knows something's going to happen, right? Prize plunderer might just be an out if he needs to shoot through a grey bow or something weird.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But we're starting to get to a situation where some spell damage and Garrote plus Ignite and a Secret Passage for a couple bleeds is going to be lethal. Doesn't pick up Battle Guard, which is the card that he absolutely needed in that scenario, right? That was the only card that got him back in this game.
And now he's going to go Oracle, coin, break the game.
Oh, no! All right. Yep, we're going to... I know this seems weird in this situation, but Neil and I are back on camera for a second. Just going to try and reset the spectator. It's quite possible that this game could just end by the time we return to it.
Fr0zen had, I think, 5 cards in his deck, so Garrote from hand and some spell damage and then a Secret Passage feels like that's lethal, but it's a bit wishy-washy because I can't see the board because Rami broke the game while he's trying to stay
I'm looking at the deck tracker. He ignited for 3. He played Garrote. and played Refreshing Spring Water. Yep, there it is. And that'll do it. Yes, we got there for the end of the game. All right, Fr0zen takes a pretty quick 3-0 in that finals. Yet another sweep with Garrote Rogue in the series of tournaments for week number 6 in Hearthstone Grandmasters. A much-needed victory for Fr0zen. Honestly, a much-needed second place finish for Rami, digging himself at least a little bit out of the relegation picture. He'll end the week on 7 points, which does put him out of the relegation spot, but just barely, tied with Kayla's Luna right outside of it in that 12th place position.
Yep, nice to see Fr0zen picking one up. He has made it to like every tournament Friday or every broadcast stage at least, apart from one. He just hasn't been picking up the wins going forward, and that can just be variance. Sometimes 2 or 3 bad results, 2 or 3 accidents can soon lower your points. So good to see Fr0zen picking up a 5. It's not completely out of thin air. 5 being because you won 5 games and you get a point per game. It's not completely out of thin air that this has happened, and he has, of course, had that great result in China. So he puts himself in with almost certainly safe. I don't want to make any declarations at whatever time it is at the end of a broadcast, but very close to being safe. And an outside squeak of getting into the playoffs as well now.
Yep, we'll have to have a good week and hope that some of the players that are barely in that playoff picture currently, he'll end the week at 10 points, which puts him right outside in 9th, the sole possessor, 9th place, with Muzzy and Fled being 1 point above him. So, just needs to have a decent week and then hope that those players don't have decent weeks, or he has a slightly better week than they do. One good thing for him is that winning the week makes his tiebreakers exceptional, because if he ends up being tied with a bunch of players at the end of week 7, because we've had players win multiple weeks and there's not that many players that can win weeks in Grandmasters, his tiebreaker will be looking very good. So I think this was an incredible week for Fr0zen, finally capitalizing on the success elsewhere and bringing it into Grandmasters. And outside of that one little hiccup in the Garrote Rogue game, I think he played cleanly as well overall.
So TJ, I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you just to answer it without elaborating, okay?
Yeah.
Out of the caster predictions, you made 3 predictions this week. How many did you get right?
I got 3 right.
That's awesome. Fantastic. Well done, TJ.
I got all 3 right. I picked Alatemu for Asia Pacific, he won. I picked Gabby for Europe, he won. And I picked Fr0zen for Americas, and he won. Which means
amazing. Unbeatable.
Cue the music. I've won the predictions for this week.
Well done. That's twice now that America's region has won the predictions competition, and I'm very proud. Thank you, TJ, for carrying me in the predictions once again.
Yeah, we just so we're being genuine here, we do have to give at least somewhat of a special shout out to Sottle, who also predicted all 3 of the champions, the same ones as me, in fact. But by
strangely enough,
by every tiebreaker imaginable,
right.
I've won. I believe
I'm the tiebreak decider, so I choose TJ as the winner of this week.
Thank you. Yep, I believe I predicted first. That's a big one. Sottle tried to pull one and say that he wanted to go in reverse alphabetical order for the tiebreaker, but everybody knows that it's always alphabetical order. And alphabetical order in both, I win both of these, Twitter handle and last name.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yep. Sanders, Welsh, Azumo Cutie, Sottle, whatever. Cole, doesn't matter. A comes first.
I think it starts with C actually, but
Yeah, Cole_Sottle.
Correct.
Whatever. The least amount of Twitter followers, also, that's a tiebreaker. I have less than him. So I need the promotion of being the prediction winner more than him. That's an obvious tiebreaker.
So if you don't follow TJ because you don't like him and you want him to lose this competition, you should follow him immediately on Twitter.
That's right. So I will gladly accept the trophy. And let's go ahead and check in with our other America's caster here, Neil. How many predictions did he get correct? All right, moving on.
I went for the Gia same predictions as Gia, because I thought APAC. Now there's a region that's got it together. But no, Gia let me down. I'll copy somebody else next week.
Yeah. Derek was very close in multiple ways. Derek picked Alutemu, correct, for Asia Pacific. Picked Letta for Europe, which Letta was this close.
I mean,
Actually, no,
all he had to do
closer.
was
This
fit
close.
a massive golem this big anywhere but over all of these minions, and he would have been fine. But the golem just went straight through the lot into the face, and then he looked at the board, and the look on his face of, this golem's had an accident, and I can't undo it. It was just one of those looks.
Yep. All right, and this is why Neil and I have been stalling. We have updated standings. That's right. These are the current standings, and they are current, factoring in the finals that just took place. Monsanto still holds the lead by a good margin, 19 points, with yet another top 4 finish for himself in this week's competition. Nalgidon, Dreadeye, in reasonable good position. I do feel like this is going to be a battle for second place, for that second bye, once we do get to the playoffs. But, if you have 12 points right now, pretty much no hands and above, you're looking pretty good for playoffs, right? 1 or 2 points will be close to guaranteeing it. And then our real eyes next week, at least towards the beginning of the week, right, will be on that relegation battle. I hate calling it a race because it just doesn't feel good to call it a race. A race upwards, I guess, is a good way to put that. Eddie killing all day, Eggo Waffle. I guess even Kayla Luna and Rami need some good weeks, and also need to hope that some of the players maybe slightly above them have some bad weeks.